I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I know the problem, you've got just one policy. You do the opposite of what the Donald does. Don't know what you believe just because you got that TDS. You've tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. Open the borders, let Mom Donnie pick your pocket. Let the boys beat the girls, they got that extra rocket. A theology degree from Starbucks. You declare that America sucks. You got that TDS. You tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. Let's get this party started. If you're left, you're blue and probably retarded. Like Rosie, De Niro, Jimmy Kimmel, Kathy Griffin. No kings, no kidding. We don't live in Great Britain. If J6 was the worst thing you've ever seen, Soros, burning Sadie's a mostly peaceful thing. Bring back the cartels, commute their crimes. Sack the fact checkers like the New York Times. He's a Nazi, a fascist, a racist dictator who lets you say what you wanna say.
Luke, I am your daddy.
You got that TDS. You tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. No matter what he says, you must be really dumb, 'cause you keep blaming Trump for your problems.
Side effects of Trump derangement syndrome may include violent behavior, delusions, nightmares, insomnia, irrational hatred, hopelessness, anxiety, depression, blue hair, tantrums, inability to form coherent speech, difficulty maintaining gainful employment, and verbal diarrhea.
There's no cure in sight.
Hey, so the government won't let me live in this treehouse that I spent the last 4 years building, and the reason is incredibly stupid. As we already established, the county said I could build a treehouse, and the county seats changed, and the new guy said, hey, no, never mind, you need a permit for that, and that turned into like a 1.5-year battle, and they didn't want to give us a permit, and when they finally did give us a permit, they said, okay, fine, you can build it, but you need to make it bigger, up to 1,200 square feet, to meet our minimum size requirements, you know, so we can tax you more. So we got the permit, and now there's a new problem. Now they say that my parents cannot build a house on the same property, which is over 100 acres, by the way, because now the treehouse is the primary residence, so we can't do another house. So we meet with the county again, and we're like, hey, so the treehouse is still only 750 square feet. We have not made it bigger, which means it meets your size requirements for an accessory structure, so we should still be able to build a main house over there. Nope. That's impossible. Why is that impossible? Well, because our ordinance strictly prohibits building the accessory structure before the main house, because then people just never build the main house. Yeah, but we're actually trying to build the main house, like right now. We're trying to build it, but you're saying no. So we go in circles and circles, and they're just like, sorry, it's impossible. You cannot build another house on the property. So my dad's like, well, can we just apply for a variance? And he's like, yeah, you can, but they'll definitely deny it. And then I found a loophole. I said to him, I said, why don't we just divide the property on paper, draw an invisible line down the middle, and then my parents can pull a permit for this property, build their main house, and when they finish, we can reassemble the properties, and the treehouse becomes an accessory structure to the main house. Well, yeah, I guess I guess that could work, but you can't get a certificate of occupancy for your treehouse until your parents' house is finished, which means I can't live in it. Because in 2026, you need the government's permission to live in a house that you built. So we had to pay surveyors thousands of dollars to draw invisible lines across the property so that my parents can build on the exact same property. And then when they finish, we will pay them thousands more dollars to erase the invisible lines and put the properties back together. Otherwise, I have to nearly double the size of the treehouse. So in summary, I can't live in the treehouse because it's an illegal structure and it's not big enough. But if I make it bigger, then it's okay. But also now it's too big, so now my parents can't build a house over here. But if I draw an invisible line here, then they can build a house over here. But I still have to make the treehouse bigger. Unless I erase the invisible line after my parents' house is done, then the treehouse is okay. But I still can't live in it until my parents' house is done because you can't build the accessory structure first according to the city ordinance, even though it's already done. So I guess my wife and I will just keep living in this leaky, mold-infested camper. And what makes this even more interesting is that they tried to jack up the property tax bill this year because they claimed that the treehouse was done and that we were living in it. But we also don't have a CO and we're not allowed to live in it. So which is it? Make it make sense. I'll pay the freaking increased property tax if I can just live in my stupid house. The comments are going to say, bro, just live in it anyway. How will they know? All that being said, my hope is that when my parents actually break ground, which should be in the next couple of months, I can convince them to give me the CO and I can actually move in. I feel like that's a perfectly reasonable request. We're not trying to cheat the system. We're not trying to work around the rules. We've got a main house and an accessory house. That's all we're trying to do here. But they're making us go run around in circles and waste a ton of money on invisible lines. Anyway, stay tuned to see how this story develops.
Hey guys, welcome to the program. Reach out, look, give me the finger, click, lick, 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 lick. No, click like. Don't lick me. I guess you could if you wanted. Please share, like, follow this. We're going to talk about a war that's going on right now. It's unlike any other. It's why I wrote the book about the three-toed dragon. I am going to introduce you to this. We're just going to kind of break it down and go through it. And by the way, thank you for being here. Right? We've had some really good times and information over the last 6 years doing this, haven't we? By the way, like I just said, my new book's out. It's called The Three-Toed Dragon, Communist China's Secret War to End American AI and Data Centers. Getting wrapped up in all the election stuff and trying to get that tidied up, cleaned up, handled and everything like that. I put off a lot of my writing efforts. As you know, I've already written several hundred books to begin with. And so I put off writing books that, I did all the research, get started, and then invariably I've got to do something and I kind of get off and whatever. And I'm trying to clean up these little odd loose ends that I've had out there in books and get them ready for the team to publish and anything. So the three-toed dragon, here you go. If you want to see the Amazon URL, if you want to snap a picture of the screen, it's out there, right? And it has, well, it is probably one of the most detailed works of sharing a knowledge base so you can fight the war as you have to fight the war, because a lot of this war is being fought in social media. Also, just a little bit of update here in short order. It's just the last stage of it. We'll be releasing my other book, The Golem Effect, Precious Pixels, Deadly Devices, How Digital Social Era is Creating Killer Kids, right? A key one. You got to understand, if you got kids or grandbabies, you got to get this book. If you're a teacher, a counselor, anybody that's in the ministry or whatever, you've got to understand what's going on and what's happening to children neurologically because of these devices. And then, even like this one, talking about the dragon, right? The three-toed dragon. I do a lot of information because that's kind of how I consider our time here. My time's to try to educate, to try to help you, help all of us make this place better. And a lot of times I talk about faith. In fact, on the digital stuff regarding data centers and AI, I did 6-hour mini episodes, right? I did 6 1-hour plus episodes to help you kind of understand it. Well, one of the things I often talk about is faith versus church versus religion, etc. Here in short order, I'm going to buckle down over the holiday and try to get it all finished. But look, coming shortly, I'll be releasing my book that I've been working on for a while. It's where a lot of the content comes from when I talk to you, called Blind Faith: How Modern Religion and Church in 140 Characters or Less is Killing American Faith. I'm proud of this one. It could just kind of help you understand, faith and religion and church has become something different than what it used to be. I'm trying to capture that moment to help you, right? Help you understand what's going on and now how churches and religion has been politicized. It is not a book trying to convince you of any religion. It's just a book to help you understand what's going on with it and how they've taken something sacred and made it sacrilegious. Right? So that's what's coming up. Anyway, on this episode, we're going to talk about, this is a war unlike any other, and it's against the three-toed dragon. I'm going to explain that concept to you. Share this program. It's going to be an interesting ride. And oh, by the way, just so I kind of get it out of the way, today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. You've got the program going on once again where you can sign up and get free silver. So why not get some free silver, and you don't have to be Judas to do it. Go to jovanlovesgold.com. This is why I do this with my fine partners at Goldco, because now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Right? Folks, cover your ass. Yeah, it's that simple. You've got to cover your ass. Anyway, we're going to dig into the dragon. Something you probably didn't know how it was unfolding, and it's unfolding right before our eyes. Let's get started right after this.
Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no! Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone! Yeah! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. You fuck around and find out it's what it is. Jeffrey Pretty was a Jewish homo. Started talking shit to protect a chomo. He was getting nicked when he pulled a gun. Bam, motherfucker, now you're gone. Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. Fuck around and find out what that is.
Warning. The following program has been rated Dilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians? The elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused emotional socialist snowflake crowd. Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, folks, here we go. We're going to talk about this is a war unlike any other, and this is unlike any other, and it's against what's called the three-toed dragon. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through it so you understand what's in the book. But by the way, recently somebody shared a video of me talking about all the screw-ups in Arizona, particularly Scooby-Doo and Shagga, you know, the Doobie-induced attorney Brian Blem, and his totally mishandling of Carrie Lake's thing. So he fired off a tweet, and he basically accused me of farming little boys and living rent-free in his head. Whatever. So I replied to them, and I'm going to share with you the Twitter here, because I think you should encourage them. I basically invited him with all his political, legal doobiness to come on with me, and we will basically take that Carrie Lake trial, and we will go over why he presented what as evidence and the law. And I will go head to head with this attorney. I did admit it would be unfair, so I said, hey, look, you get 9 other haters of me, right? You and 8 others. Join me. That way we balance it out intellectually. And let's just talk about it. Let's go through it. I will go head to head with you on case law, historic law, and fact law. So we'll see. I doubt that he has the testicular fortitude to do it. He got mad a very long time ago when I pointed him out as being a rat bastard and pointed out that his legal law site, supposedly for his law firm, actually went to a Chinese porn site, which he never did anything about. But anyway, so I've invited him on. We'll see. Most of these cowards are cowards behind keyboards. By the way, if I'm going to call you out, I don't have to do it online. And the one thing about me is if I'm going to call you out, I'll call you out online. I'll call you out on person. I'll call you out on stage. Don't believe me? Just ask Mark Fincham. I have no problem doing it. And so you might want to encourage him. Come on. We can stack the deck. We'll have rules not to talk over each other, but we will go through everything relevant to why the system sabotaged Carrie Lake's trial. Let me give you an example. When Carrie was offered $20 million not to run, kind of happened, you know, like when they offered me $10 million if I just wouldn't do my part of the audit. They offered Carrie $20 million not to run. She turned it down. Do you actually think that they're just going to, okay, no, they worked to sabotage her claims of what happened in the election so they could keep on repeating it. And that's the way the system goes. And it's the GOP that does it, along with the people that have been put in office. So if you want to encourage Shaggy to come on with me, and we can go over it, and we will go over it statute by statute, precedent by precedent, witness by witness, and it would be a very good thing to do. Also, by the way, a little bit of housekeeping. At the end of the program, I've got a special 5-minute video for you you're going to want to watch in celebration of our 250th birthday as a country. Okay. So I penned a book called A War Unlike Any Other. It's about what is called the three-toed dragon. It just went live. You can get it in hardbound. You can get it in softbound, and you can see it's an incredibly great price simply because it's not a color book inside like all my gardening books are forced to be. So it's very easy. Take a screenshot of the screen. That's a cool thing. Wonder who thought. You're going to take a picture of it and it'll go to the internet. Anyway, you can take a snapshot of that. There's links in chat. Thank you for putting those up. But this is something you need to understand. The main reason you need to understand, and this is the premise in the book, the dragon does not announce it's coming with thunder or flame. It moves first as a shadow across still water, a whisper in the wind, a warmth that feels like comfort. The man who refuses to recognize its subtle ways awakens only when its coils have already tightened around his throat. By then, the roar is no longer a warning. It is the last sound he will ever hear. And you've got to understand that. So I want to share with you the prologue, that because it'll kind of give you a good idea. And then I'm just going to kind of blow through the chapter so you understand what's in it, to give you a good deep dive in the book so you understand what it is. But the prologue I wrote for the book to kind of help you understand what this entire thing is about goes as follows. The dragon is not a distant myth or a hypothetical shadow looming on the horizon. It is a living, breathing entity already cold deep within the heart of the United States of America. Its scales glisten in the corridors of power. Its venom seeps into every institution, from the smallest local board to the highest federal offices. For decades, this three-toed dragon has labored in silence and shadow, recruiting, training, embedding, bribing, and positioning its agents across every stratum of America society. It has infiltrated our governments, our media, our schools, and our communities, eroding the foundations of liberty from within. The hour is late, and the danger is dire. Our republic stands at the precipice, its sovereignty fractured by the claws sharpened through deception and division. Yet in this darkness, a fire ignites within the American spirit and the unyielding resolve of a people who have always risen to reclaim what is theirs. This book is your beacon and your blade, a clarion call to awaken, to see the dragon for what it truly is, and to recognize its agents by the trails of corruption and control that they leave behind. Here you will learn to combat its three claws, its insidious grip of ideological subversion and strangling hold of the economic manipulation, and the piercing strike of institutional betrayal. With each page, you will arm yourself not with despair, but with knowledge forged in truth, strategies to expose the hidden networks, to smoke out the operatives who wear the mask of patriotism while serving foreign masters. This is no passive reading, it is activation. It summons you to stand as a warrior in the unfolding battle for the soul of our nation, to defend the freedoms bought with the blood of patriots, past and right now, by the way, and to forge a future where American sovereignty reigns unchallenged. This is a war manual. This is a manual on how to defeat the three-toed dragon. In its words lies the blueprint for victory, not through chaos or vengeance, but through relentless vigilance, unbreakable unity, and the righteous power of an informed and activated citizenry. The dragon may be embedded, but it is not invincible. Every exposure weakens its coil. Every act of courage severs its claws. Every voice raised in truth echoes the thunder that will drive it back into the abyss. Rise now, Americans. The fight is upon us, but so too is our greatest triumph, the restoration of a free, sovereign, and unbreakable United States. The dragon will fall, and liberty will endure. This is something different than all of us have ever faced before in this corrupt system. I want you to understand something very simply. And you'll learn a little bit more as I just kind of give you the chapter headlines and kind of tells you what's behind them. This is an instruction manual of how to fight this and how you have to understand how it's going on. But here's the deal. If you think, I'll give you an example. I posted it the other day. My Twitter, before I really got into hot and heavy on the election stuff, every few days it'd be 50 to 95 million views. The only change in what happened with me is I came out of the shadows of the technology world and creating and said, I'm going to create to figure out what the hell's up with these elections. And I am going to do my best to fight for my country. Aside from canceling my Twitter and having to fight for it, I'm lucky, right? In that same amount of time that I might have 50,000 impressions. 1,000th of a fraction. And the only thing that's changed is I decided to move from history and technology, which I always talked about, just to fight for my country and to fight for what happened to Donald J. Trump. That's the system we live in. Just like the video I showed you at the beginning of the program, it's all about control. It's all about creating ways to take away what you have and to subjugate us. But this particular war that I'm talking about, the war with the three-toed dragon, is different. See, right now, Facebook, can mute your reach. Most of you never see my tweet. I tweet probably 10 times a day. Do you intentionally look at my Twitter 10 times a day? No, you probably wait for a notification. They know that. People wait. People put it off. But if you have the intention, it's why I've always done 777. 7 days a week, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Why do I do that? Because I know the system won't notify you. So I give you something you can bank on, which means you have to have intent. See, your intent is the workaround in the system. So you understand how social media does this anyway, to everybody they don't agree with. So that means if you want to see my Twitter, the reach I really have, you have to have intent, and you get to kind of check it every now and then, and you'll see it. If you think that's bad, like YouTube summarily taking, I don't know, I had, again, on that one, I probably had 50 million views, 60 million views, and just obliterating that in 259,000 subscribers. Bink, no reason, no excuse, no whatever. If you think that's bad, it's about to get worse. And the reason it's about to get worse is because if we lose this data center AI war, it doesn't matter what it is, even on places like Rumble, where you can see me freely, I can talk freely, and all that stuff. It will be censored, modified, and moved even long before you see anything. And it won't be because Rumble does it. That is what's up for grab. It means every piece of actionable intelligence in national security will be compromised because it will be seen prior, predicted prior, and even battled before we even know we need to battle it. That's what the dragon does. So I kind of want to take you through the book and explain some of the concepts behind it. More importantly, you might think about, well, what do you mean by the three-toed dragon and where does that come from? You have to understand way back in China's history, because the dragon is China. The red dragon, the dragon we are entering is China. It's here. All of the dynasties that created and ruled China, when the succeeding political party came in, they intentionally destroyed all books, all learning, everything. It was as if none of those ancestors ever existed. And China's done this 3 times in their history. Completely obliterated everything that was historically known, wiped it out. I mean, I'm talking wiped it out, and then started a brand new history. If you were to go back in Chinese history, when it was an imperial hierarchy and control, at that time, it was a 5-toed dragon. And a 5-toed dragon basically meant working in harmony. China wasn't a conqueror and all that other stuff. Working in harmony with the way the world was put together, the way, fire, water, wind, etc., right? And you're right. What happened is literally they lost toe. See, the 5 elements in Chinese society, very honorable, very noble, very learned, was always based on wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Things that they call auspicious. But as I told you about China getting taken over by students, about 400 plus students, plus another group of about 40,000, took over a country of 1 billion people. This started the declawing concept. The claws that were left over, right, are merely just a symbol of what was, but are designed to slash, burn, and to control everything. And that's the concept behind the 3-toed dragon, so you understand what's behind it. And so what I do in chapter 1 is I explain the legend of the 3-toed dragon. Yes, a tang, a claw. Chapter 2, I basically talk about, as I introduce this, I basically set up so you understand the war over data and artificial intelligence. Most people don't realize this is a war. This is an issue. Chapter 3 is Elon Musk, and it's the issues facing pioneers. It's what Elon is facing in this battle. And I use it from somebody directly involved so you'll understand really what's going on in this battle. Now, then I give you just a taste. I want you to have a taste of how this is done. You know, in the United States of America, in environmentalism, our country wrote laws, etc., forbidding coal power, coal mines, right? Any energy run on coal. That was done by the environmental saying, you're going to kill the planet, you're going to do this, you're going to do that stuff. And you probably wondered many times, shit, China's burning all kinds of coal and stuff. Well, what you don't know, which I give you the historical basis of, the push behind the inconvenient truth and getting rid of coal was all funded by China. We have larger reserves than them. They could not afford to us to get strong from an actual power grid point and produce cheaper energy, because that's part of the battle. And so they actually worked with activists using the 3 claws to get America to stop working coal. Of course, it hammered hundreds of thousands of jobs, hurt our economy, but all in the name of environmentalism. What I give you so you understand how this works is they use laws against us, which I'll explain to you, to hurt us and to turn them into the dominant force. And so I take you through that history right off the bat to show you how this works. Then in chapter 6, I talk about the youthful claws. Now, this is a double piece here because you have to understand how the 3-toed dragon seized its homeland and how they extended that shadow across the entire world. Chapter 7, I give you the eternal weave, how the dragon awakened in the modern age and how they're using these ancient tactics. Now, there are 3 warfares. And I give you the warfares. These are the 3 warfares. This is an actual doctrine. So you kind of understand what this is. 1 claw in the dragon reshapes what people believe is true. 1 claw reshapes what people feel is right. And then 1 claw reshapes what people accept as law. And you have to understand how this works. Let me see if I can go up one more higher. Can I get it? Let me see if I can center that. I think I can. Maybe you can see that a little better on my screen. There you go. So I explain the doctrine they use to do this. Now, chapter 9 is the first claw. This is what they use in modern times. That claw is what's called public opinion warfare. And then I give you a case study in 10 to explain how public opinion influences works and how they're doing this specifically against American AI. That's the public opinion warfare. The second claw the dragon has is psychological warfare, and I tell you how they use it in modern times. And then the third claw in modern times is legal warfare. These are the three things. If you want to understand the judicialization of politics, the legal, I'm going to sue you, this is stuff, this is how somebody, President Trump says, we're going to get rid of this, we're going to stop it, and then boom, all of a sudden some random judge can stop a president of the United States. You're about to learn the ones who fund that is China. I'm going to show you every one of them. And so I explain the net effect of what happens in this. Chapter 14, I kind of give to you how the dragon understands this works and why they do it. And then in chapter 15, I talk about, as American, we have both an infected and a susceptible American mind. Then I go into, okay, how do these influence operations work? And I do a detailed exploration into it, okay? And I explain things like chapter 17, unrestricted warfare. In chapter 18, I tell you how they conquer the cognitive domain. Chapter 19, I tell you who the dragon's pawns are. And in each of these, I give you case studies. I don't only tell you this is what's done. I actually give you the facts of where it's already been done. Like chapter 21, I talk about rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals are the backbone of every mobile device in the world. Everything with data, everything with AI, everything in mobile devices. It's called rare earth minerals. In the United States of America, we have abundant supplies of this. China, planning and forging ahead, again, deploying the three claws, got America to outlaw the mining of rare earth minerals. They use activism and activists. It's going to taint the water supply. It's going to heat up the globe. It's going to do this. And America put laws on the books where we cannot mine rare earth minerals. Now, the dragon deployed this all around the world. Who 100% controls rare earth minerals now? China. That's why we can't do any computing, any chips, any mobile phones or otherwise without China. They knew what was coming. This is a very long-term strategy play, and this is how it works. So I give you the case study in rare earth minerals so you understand it. In chapter 22, I basically explained the hijacking of what's called the dragon's pawns and how the dragon pawns fund our nation's undoing. Why? Because the dragon pawns believe they're fighting evil. Donald Trump, the environment, we've got to save it. No, it is all to do things to move America, right? To give China the advantage. Then I explain who their bankers are. You always want to know where the money comes from. I not only give you who the bankers are, I tell you how they feast on it. And then in chapter 25, I explain how the weight of this all comes down. And that's where I kind of start sharing with you, how can you counterbalance that? Okay, just so you understand, folks, we're talking about my new book that just dropped, The Three-Toed Dragon. You can get it in hardbound, you can get it in paperback. Communist China's Secret War to End American AI and Data Centers. In fact, let me just play this for you. I think I got it teed up. Here's the promo for the book.
Are data centers going to destroy America? Will data centers and artificial intelligence rob our water supplies? Will it drive up our energy costs? What's fact? What's fiction? Here's the truth no one talks about. America must win the AI data center war or surrender the future to the great dragon. Award-winning, 4-time best-selling author, technology, pioneer, and futurist, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer presents the definitive manual for winning this war against China, the Three-Toed Dragon. Communist China's secret war to end American AI and data centers. China's relentless drive for AI dominance is no longer a distant threat. Through massive state-backed infrastructure, voracious energy consumption, and strategic control of global supply chains, the CCP is building an unstoppable technological empire. While America debates policy, China executes. This is not another tech trend. It is the decisive battlefield of the 21st century where data centers, power generation, cooling systems, and sovereign energy infrastructure will determine who controls intelligence, economic supremacy, and national security. This fact book, guidebook, handbook, and war plan cuts through the noise with meticulously researched intelligence on the hidden realities of AI data center demands. Exploding power requirements, industrial-scale water usage, heat island effects, liquid cooling breakthroughs, hydrogen and off-grid solutions, semiconductor vulnerabilities, and the strategic choke points China already exploits. It delivers actionable blueprints for American victory, from policy recommendations and energy independence strategies to practical deployment models for rural and sovereign systems that bypass fragile grids and foreign dependencies. For patriots, policymakers, energy entrepreneurs, technologists, and every citizen who refuses to live under digital authoritarianism, this is the essential field manual. America still holds the innovation edge, the resource base, and the will, but only if we act with urgency and clarity. The great dragon is moving at full speed. The time to seize victory in the AI data center war is now. Available on Amazon, hardbound, paperback, and ebook. Read it. Arm yourself. Win.
Okay, I want you to understand something about me. Not only do I have patents in this sector, but every day part of my life, the part of life you don't see, and yes, we're going to do an ebook, it's just not ready yet, it's a whole different formatting, is exactly in this space, pioneering the future of how these things work their best, don't consume water, run cool, etc. A significant part of my day is discussing these things, helping plan these things. And you're talking about something that, on one end is an $800 million development, and over here is a $2.9 billion development. You have to be able to understand what's going on. I may release it in audiobook. I'm thinking about it. It takes a lot of time. It's 500 some odd pages. That would take an incredible amount of time for me to narrate, but may do it. Let me just give you a ridiculous example, but I can explain to you what happens. If this is not managed right and it's taken over by China, because all China wants to do is destroy America. Do you notice the heat wave going on in Europe right now where people are dying because it is 82 degrees? Anyway, you know the heat wave going on in Europe now. And you notice one of the French hooty-dooty leaders came out and said, well, it's Americans' fault because they run and have air conditioners, and that's why we have this. People are dying, because it's 90 degrees. Anyway, in a world where if this gets captured by the dragon, it will not matter what you think, because through them controlling the data centers and AI, they will adjust your use of power and AC in the United States to placate their allies in France. And you won't be able to do shit about it. We won't be able to do shit about it. You've got to understand what this is, the war that changes everything, right? This is a war that changes everything. By the way, this is not a rerun. Why would somebody have said, I wish this wasn't a rerun? Deja vu. No. Anyway, you got to understand what's at ultimate cost in this. This is why I had to do this book. And so I have to teach you how to fight it. I also have to teach you how to fight the algorithm. And 27, I talk about the rise of algorithmic reckoning. I explain in 28 how, and I give you case studies for ease. You also don't understand it was the dragon that unleashed fentanyl on us. The laws of not prosecuting drug dealers. We shouldn't have police. Who's underwriting that? The dragon. Get fentanyl in China? They make as much as they can. One little bag could wipe out an entire city. They are the ones behind no police enforcement, don't put drug dealers in jail, keeping it open. Why? Because we'll willingly kill ourselves. You have to understand how this works. I also explained to you in chapter 29, I call it the hidden veins, how the three-toed dragon captured America's bloodstream. They don't just make fentanyl, folks. They make 98% of our prescriptions and medicines. 98% of our prescriptions and medicines are manufactured exclusively in China. You know that medicine you're taking that's supposed to be right, but you wonder why there's conflicts in your prescriptions? There's no control. It's manufactured in China, but they're not inspected when they come in. You ever wonder what you really might be taking? What might be some of the underlying causes of these conflicts in prescriptions? We've lost control of our medicines. You getting this yet? Energy, coal, rare earth minerals, pharmacies. You getting it yet? You understand the ultimate control that we have at the Dragon? By the way, they are the ones that financed, right? Financed. Oh, it's got to be environmental friendly. It's got to be green, green, green. What else for the rare earth minerals? All of the transformers for the power systems, all of the solar panels, every product that facilitates the green system, which they don't use in China, is sold to us. All based on environmental laws and crap, and it sells us more stuff. 100% control of the green supply chain. This is why this is so dire if you don't understand it. I also explained the shock of a nation. It's called the shadow in the wires. You saw Tucker Carlson, who unfortunately, I loved him to death, but now he's just a fucking shill, say, well, if data centers were so important, why does China only have 350? Well, in America, we have 5,000 planned. We have thousands of them. By the way, you've been using data centers for a very long time, ever since you had fucking a phone line, much less your old AOL. That's where people don't understand what's going on. But let me tell you what's going on. China, understanding how to play this game, we hobbled ourselves on massive power. That was the coal play. We hobbled ourselves at China's bidding for all of the rare earth minerals. That's the components. They controlled it. And so while they had all of that control, right? You know what they did? They built the largest, most sophisticated power grid system and power generation plants in the world. We're talking in the world. Unbelievable future power in China. Our grid in the United States of America is 80 years old. And we now are not upgrading our grid, and we can't keep up. It's 80 years old. Our power grid is the 1940s. And by the way, all of the things that control the power and transformers, because it has rare earth in it, 100% manufactured in China. If LA's power system was to go down right now, I've talked to you this before. It was my original book, which was called Red Dawn 2.0. I just consolidated it down and repositioned it. If we had to replace those major transformers, we have to order from China. Their delivery schedule, 3 years. 3 years. All the thing about flying drones, I told you that. Oh, it's got to be registered. You're going to kill people. You're going to fly into people's house. You're going to see their tatas when they're sunning outside. It's got to be regulated. All by lawmakers, buying off lawmakers. Your little license to fly a drone, where does that go? Beijing. Beijing handles that licensing for us. Even our military drones run through it. But look at our power companies. They save money with drones. Now they fly the lines through all the mountains and deserts. They just fly them and look at them and check them out. All of that telemetry data and video goes through Beijing, China. They've already mapped 100% of our grid. One carefully placed 40-foot section of chain with 2 drones dropping it in a particular place, California area, would wipe out LA of power. Now, what would happen? They can't get those parts for 3 years. So what will they do? They'll take power from the north and other places. They'll start usurping power from the United States to feed the LA market. What happens? Our grid melts down. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting why you need to get your shit in order to understand this? This last major play is the data centers, folks. That's why I'm introducing you to the 3-toed dragon. I could no more cover all of this. You know, I've done 10 hours on it, but you got to be able to read it and see the numbers, etc., for what it really is. This is my new book called The 3-Toed Dragon. I explain every bit of this to you, right? I'm not regurgitating other people's shit because nobody's ever put it all together where you can understand how it works. I also told you about the brain sucking. Do you remember the brain sucking? The world in the future is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They convinced America you need a liberal degree so you can be a poet or a preacher or an activist or a justice warrior. While they took everything in science, in technology, engineering, mathematics, exceeded it, and they put out millions of students. That's why their students are here. We didn't train our kids. They control that market as well. Again, you have to understand every bit of this. So I explained how this works. I explained how they hollowed out our stem cell. I explained this issue on public opinion, how it works, how it impacts, how it goes. And so then I go in to explain national security. Here's why it's a risk. This is our national security risk. And then I explain how the dragon's best on us and all this hype about the data centers. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And then I tackle the water because they say it's going to take our water. So I give you that. It's going to take our energy. I give you that. It's hyper AI scale, whatever. They don't tell you how efficient these things are because it's old data. So I give you all the case studies. Well, it's EMF, it's hidden right. No, I give you all the data. By the way, the largest offender, more larger than data centers, processing chickens in the United States of America. But all these idiots that data centers, it's a hot topic. I got to get on. No data centers. I want to my neighbor. No data centers. It's all Chinese propaganda. And the larger offending is just poultry processing. By far. I give you these numbers so you can fight this battle. I give you the numbers on here's how much water we use in pharmaceuticals. That's the US-based stuff. That's a simple bit bullshit. Primary compounds. I give you what the beverage energy really uses compared to data centers. I give you what landscaping in America and turf and recreational uses compared to data centers. And then I give you by markets. Did you know Northern Virginia is the largest data center market in the world? I give you the numbers. I break it down by every market being battled for. Dallas, Texas, Atlanta, Chicago, Phoenix, Silicon Valley, right? Everything. Los Angeles. I give you every single city that's in this battle. San Antonio, Texas, Columbus, Ohio. I give you everything. I give you the actual audited numbers of both data and power uses compared to it. And then basically, here it is. We've got to enter this dragon and fight it. So I give you how they can take over our military if they gain dominant control. You have to understand these systematic threats. And these Chinese people are here. When I say that, I mean the influencers for the dragon. They are here. I give you a case study of how their money's spent. I actually track the money. Here it is. I show you who is spending the most money on their behalf. We're giving them what's called the gift of hesitation. All we do is hesitate. They dominate. Okay? And then, of course, I told you about our 80-year electrical revolution, how our aging power grid, what's going on. I give you an answer. The answer is natural gas. I also dive into when Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, was basically going head to head with Tucker this, and I give you the actual numbers. Then I actually, when you understand natural gas is the answer, and we have abundance of it more than anything, who tried to outlaw gas? Natural gas. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for your stove. I give you the entire Obama administration through the Biden administration, why they were shutting down natural gas. Just like China needed our coal shut down, they needed our natural gas shut down. I give you the facts. The people, the places, the thing, the legislation. I basically explains what would happen if China wins. And then I give you the battle plan. I give you a citizen's battle plan. I give you an elected officials and lawmakers battle plan. I give you a social media's warriors battle plan to fight this. And then I go in very deep about how to counter this, because this is the most consequential struggle in our history. And you don't have to believe what I say, because I give you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of citations. You can read this for yourself and see the stats. We've known this for a very long time. Long before you ever heard about me regarding anything election, I was right in the middle. We've got to fix our power grid. I cannot tell you how many people, the Department of Justice or generals or whatever, Obama era, ignored it all, knew it was coming. And in fact, they aided and abetted them. And here we are. This is why you've got to know this is a war unlike any other. And it is against the three-toed dragon. You know what you can't do? Don't get these quips from social media. You better get your brain around this. This affects you. This affects you directly. Your kids, your grandkids, our future, everything. This is the war that was raging underneath while they gave all these freaking distractions. We lose this one, we're cooked. And it won't matter about politicians. It won't matter about bribery. It won't matter about any of it, because they've turned everybody into useful puppets. Oh, the environment. I don't want a clean reflecting pool. I want the one with algae because that's its natural growing state, and algae lives matter. All by the dragon. Because the dragon learned the three rules and they manipulated us with them. One claw reshapes what people believe is true. One claw reshapes what people feel is right. And one claw reshapes what people accept, believe it or not, as law. They are the ones writing our laws right under our noses. They are writing our laws. And nobody's talking about it at all. I am. This is not something to ignore, because it affects every single aspect of your life, even down to food production, food consumption, energy, power, water, medicines, groceries, rents, property, you name it. This is the one that affects it all. This is what's going on behind the scenes. So I teach you to fight the dragon. I'm going to play for you a little understanding of the book so you have it. But stick around for the end tag, folks. You're going to watch an important moment in history when something was done for the very first time, and to remind you just how great our nation is. Share this program. It's not over. Get about 7 minutes. Stay and watch.
Are data centers going to destroy America? Will data centers and artificial intelligence rob our water supplies? Will it drive up our energy costs? What's fact? What's fiction? Here is the truth no one talks about. America must win the AI data center war or surrender the future to the great dragon. Award-winning, four-time best-selling author, technology, pioneer, and futurist, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer presents the definitive manual for winning this war against China, the three-toed dragon. Communist China's secret war to end American AI and data centers. China's relentless drive for AI dominance is no longer a distant threat. Through massive state-backed infrastructure, voracious energy consumption, and strategic control of global supply chains, the CCP is building an unstoppable technological empire. While America debates policy, China executes. This is not another tech trend. It is the decisive battlefield of the 21st century where data centers, power generation, cooling systems, and sovereign energy infrastructure will determine who controls intelligence, economic supremacy, and national security. This fact book, guidebook, handbook, and war plan cuts through the noise with meticulously researched intelligence on the hidden realities of AI data center demands. Exploding power requirements, industrial-scale water usage, heat island effects, liquid cooling breakthroughs, hydrogen and off-grid solutions, semiconductor vulnerabilities, and the strategic choke points China already exploits. It delivers actionable blueprints for American victory, from policy recommendations and energy independence strategies to practical deployment models for rural and sovereign systems that bypass fragile grids and foreign dependencies. For patriots, policymakers, energy entrepreneurs, technologists, and every citizen who refuses to live under digital authoritarianism, this is the essential field manual. America still holds the innovation edge, the resource base, and the will, but only if we act with urgency and clarity. The great dragon is moving at full speed. The time to seize victory in the AI data center war is now. Available on Amazon, hardbound, paperback, and ebook.
And now we take great pleasure in presenting to you the star of our program, Miss Kate Smith.
Hello, everybody. It is my happy privilege to introduce a new song, God Bless America. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so
I did. Don't be late.
No. White with God bless America. My home. Sweet.
Right, Pop? Right, son.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America.
Kind of makes you think of Blake, doesn't it? Makes you think of a lot of things. We're going to be in this yet, Mom.
Hello, son.
Hi, Mom. Hello, darling.
New song?
Brand new, first time of the year. Brand new, my eye. You know, I threw that song out of Yip Yip Yap Hank 22 years ago. Sounds better now.